Welcome to another episode of Unscripted with Marilyn Morales. Today is going to be a great conversation. I know I say that all the time, but today is. I met my next guest not that long ago. I was on a virtual event and I heard her speak, and I was so taken by everything that she was saying that I knew immediately I had to connect with her. I had to have her on my show, and I needed her as my new best friend. So let me introduce you to my next guest. Her name is Tracie Randolph. She is a mom, breast cancer survivor, international coach, federation trained, certified health coach, certified life coach, personal trainer, best-selling international author and speaker. Her passion for health, nutrition, fitness, and overall holistic wellness was born from her own struggles with breast cancer. She perceives having cancer as one of the most amazing events that happened in her life, leading her to a life of purpose to point others towards optimal health. Tracie is bringing health and wellness to millions of homes across the globe through her show, The Whole Living Show. The Whole Living Show also provides businesses the opportunity to showcase their passion, purpose, and mission. She is a four-time author, having co-authored the bestseller Women Empowering Women, Break the Mold and Make a Difference, Level Up, the Handbook to Unleash Your Greatness, Spiritual Fitness Survivor, How to Turn Your Struggles into Strength, second edition, and the Handbook to Developing Human Equity, World Civility, the Missing Element. This woman is a lot, right? Let's bring Tracie onto the show. Hello, my love.
Hello. You made me sound so good.
Listen, you are so good. When I read this, and there's so much more to you. And everybody, you will see this because I'm going to be posting her bio, how many things that you're involved in. And it seems like this turning point in your life is what led you on everything that's on this page. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, I mean, most of that happened after breast cancer, honestly. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. So when I first saw you speak, it was on the virtual event and you were sharing that story.
Mhm.
My heart stopped as I was listening to your story. And I'm going to let you tell my viewers how you found out about your cancer. I want you to
Mhm.
share that because that is what got me. So
Yeah,
share with my viewers exactly how you discovered your cancer.
sure. Well, it's a little bit different from the story I told. I was in the shower, had a sharp pain. I think you and I talked about this. I was in the shower, had a sharp pain in my breast, and I said, "What's going on here?" And I decided, to go to the doctor, see what was happening. And as you know, being in the medical profession, right? It's not common to have pain with breast cancer,
Not
especially
at
for
all.
me. It was early on. So it was divine intervention. That's what I say. I know that God was giving me a warning. And I just decided to go to the doctor. And, lo and behold, a lot of things came back inconclusive in the beginning. And as we started doing more tests and more
Oh,
tests, yeah. So I didn't
oh,
even
I
know.
didn't know that part.
Yeah, I didn't know
Right.
right away. I didn't know right away. So my, just for me being diligent and my doctor being diligent, and we continued with the testing and did the biopsy, and after the first biopsy, they said, okay, yes, you have cancer. So I was in shock, to be honest with you, because I kept saying throughout the whole process of all this, it being inconclusive and having to do more tests, I'm like, oh, it's going to be nothing. These things happen all the time. It's going to be nothing. So when I went for I had two different lumps in my ducts. It wasn't even invasive yet. It was in my ducts. And when I went and they were in two different positions, and one was harder to get to than the other. So they said, you're going to have two because we don't want to do them at the same time. So when I
Okay.
went for the first one, my mom was with me. When I went for the second one, I was so convinced that it was nothing that I went by myself. And
Oh,
as I'm
okay.
laying there to do the second one, they tell me about the results of the first one. So as I'm like waiting, tears are streaming down my eyes. I'm trying to stay still because you have to stay still during a biopsy.
Yes,
But,
ma'am.
my mind was racing. I'm like, okay, what the heck is happening here? And, the nurse was rubbing my arm, which kind of made it worse, you know.
Don't
And
touch me.
right, right. She was so nice about it. But at the same time, it just made me more emotional. So I just laid there, kind of took it all in while I'm trying to lay still. And, that was pretty much it. It was like, okay, you have cancer, and then the second one came back positive as well.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
So first of all, for my viewers who aren't familiar with breast cancer and their symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
100% pain is not a symptom, right? It's not something that's usually seen. If
Mm-hmm.
people say, oh, I have a pain here, oh, that's not it. That's not cancer. That's something else,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not one of the telltale signs.
Yeah.
Yet that's what got you. You
Yeah.
had pain,
Yeah.
right? So you went and initially inconclusive. So how soon after the pain did
Mm-hmm.
you get the testing done?
Mm-hmm.
How much time elapsed?
The pain happened. Oh, I'm gonna give time. September of 2012. I
Okay.
got all the testing and my answers in November of 2012.
So 2 months later.
So 2 months later. Yeah. Yep.
So, but the inconclusive came separately from the positive. So the first time it came back inconclusive, what did your
Mm-hmm.
doctor say? What made you continue to get tested and not say, we'll just follow this up? Because sometimes they'll tell you, we'll follow it up in a couple of months.
Yeah, it was me just saying, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this. Something's not right. I've never had a pain like that before, and I'm not comfortable with this. And I ask a lot of questions. So I'm like, well, what does inconclusive even mean? Right? Like that's not a good enough answer for me.
It's not a no, right?
Exactly.
It's not a no, you don't.
Exactly. So I'm like, we need to continue whatever needs to be done. So he's like, all right, well, you're going to have to get a biopsy. I'm like, okay, let's do it, because I don't understand what inconclusive means,
Okay, so you're the one that initiated, I want further testing and I want this, I want to know more. And they said, okay, well, then the only way to find out is through a biopsy.
Yeah.
So what testing was inconclusive? What did they do to you that was inconclusive?
The mammogram was inconclusive.
So the mammogram. So the mammogram wasn't picking up a lump or anything like that.
No. It was very, very early. So they saw something there, right? But they couldn't really determine what it was because they were small. They were in my ducts. So they really, starting. Yeah, they didn't have an idea of what it really was on the mammogram.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, we want answers, right? We don't take no inconclusive. Somebody else would have said, okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Inconclusive. I'll see you next year, maybe, if they follow up.
Yeah.
So this is a wake-up call, guys. This is a wake-up call. Things become inconclusive. You have to be your own advocate. Nobody can do this for you. It's your life. Nobody's going to care about your life more than you.
That's right.
So you have to make sure that you express that to your doctors.
That's right.
So what stage was it when they first found it? Do you know?
They actually called it 0 when they first found it.
Stage 0.
Yeah. That's how early it was.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
So when they finally, the treatment, what was the treatment for it?
So of course they went through all of the, this is what you can do. You can get a lumpectomy, you can get a mastectomy, you can have radiation, you can do all of this. And I've never been well endowed. And because I had 2 different lumps in 2 different places, doing a lumpectomy didn't make sense to me, because it just would have been awkward based on where they were. So I said, you know what? I want this out. And at that time, I decided to get a mastectomy. I didn't want to go through radiation. I didn't want to go through chemo. I'm like, just remove it all, Okay. And I'm glad I did, because, as I said, it was stage 0 initially. But when they went in and they did the mastectomy, they found some invasion in my tissue. So it was the right decision. And I didn't know that until afterwards, but it was definitely the right decision for me, because there was some invasion by the time that I got the surgery done. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So again, your instinct was telling you, because a lot of women, I hear this sometimes when they're diagnosed with breast cancer, because of the physicality, right? They feel upset about having their breast removed. So they'll opt for, other types of treatments, but you knew that this had to come out. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And wow. Again, listening to your instinct, knowing what's right for you, because God forbid. So they found some invasion. Did they stage it differently at that point? So they said stage 1 at that point, but because they found some invasion. So here's the stages that I went through. Because they found invasion, they wanted to go back, and I had to go back a month later after the mastectomy to have lymph nodes removed to make sure there was no invasion in my lymph nodes. Normally they do those things at the same time. Right? Yeah. But I didn't have that, because initially they thought I was 0. So they did the mastectomy, found out it was 1,
And because they didn't get my permission to remove any lymph nodes, and of course I was asleep, they had to wait, and I had to go back, a month later to get some lymph nodes removed, and found out that there was no invasion there. Thank God.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Thank God. You know, you had some divine intervention from beginning to end, guiding you on this path.
Yeah.
So how was your life before this happened to you?
Oh, goodness gracious. Stressful. So I can remember just saying, I've been a corporate executive for a very long time, and can remember saying, I need a break. So this was the break that I got. This was not the break that I was expecting or wanted, right?
Right. This is the one you got, but not the one you wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the break that I got. But life was stressful for me. I was a single mom, doing that by myself, and back and forth between work and being a mom, and, juggling, my son's activities at the time, and trying to get to work, and rushing through the, New Jersey, New York traffic, right? And
Oh my God. You were going back and forth? You were going back and forth to New York?
Yeah, commuting. And
Wow.
life was just really, it was really stressful, to be perfectly honest with you. And I thought I was managing it okay, but, I definitely recognized that there was something wrong. And I was like, I just need a break. And this is the form that it came in. Of course, at the time that it happened, I wasn't thinking like this is the best thing that happened to me, right? Because I was processing it all. But after the fact, and even when I look back at something that happened before it took place, I was like, this is the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now if it didn't. My life changed dramatically.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just became more aware too of health and wellness, which was necessary, just for me overall. And I continued to be a corporate executive after that, but I knew how to take care of myself then after that, and I knew how to set boundaries and say no, and, do the things that I should have been doing prior to it happening. I knew how to enjoy my son more, you know what I mean? So if it
life
didn't,
is different. When faced with mortality, right? Your
yeah,
life will change. Can you share with me, was there a genetic component to your cancer diagnosis?
there was not. And I tell you, I went through the process of finding out everything, because I wanted to know that too, but there wasn't. I had the BRCA test done, and I was estrogen positive for my breast cancer, and I had the BRCA test done, and nothing came. And I couldn't think of anybody in my family that had breast cancer. Anybody in my family that had cancer had it from smoking, at all. It was like lung cancer.
So that's something that contributed to it.
Yeah.
And you were not a smoker. You didn't have any of those kind of contributing factors that you could think of that would have caused this.
Yeah.
And I talk about this all the time as a holistic nurse, right? That illness begins in your energy field before it hits your physical body. And that's really important for people to understand, because there's no genetic component. So the only thing that you had there was stress. High stress, single mom, working in corporate America, commuting back and forth. So, and not setting boundaries, not taking care of yourself. So your energy field was all messed up with lots of holes in it.
It was cloudy.
Swiss cheese, right? It's like Swiss cheese, it looks like. And then it hits your body.
Yeah.
Right? So in order to keep yourself well and make sure, now that you know that this kind of stress, what it can do to your body, how did you change your life after that? When was the first indication, like, you know what? I think my stress caused this. When did that realization hit you?
Well, after I had gone through, just the process of surgery, and how to, what I had to deal with right then, right? After that, I decided, okay, I need to figure out what's happening here. I need to figure out how I can better take care of myself. And I started looking into everything, from the food to the environment to exercise to, how I just, continue to stay joyful and deal with the stress. I started looking at everything. I started meditation, didn't even believe in meditation before this all happened, right? I have a funny story that I always tell. The hospital that, I went through to get everything done, they offered free meditation during the whole process. And I went in, I said, oh, let me try this, because I had started looking into it. And I went in to get the meditation done. And the lady, she puts these headphones on me, and I'm listening to it. And the lady's like, free your mind. And I just started laughing, because to me, it was funny.
You're like, what the heck is this stuff?
Exactly. I'm like, what? Well, because and the way I was raised too, right? Like it's woo, it's all woo woo, right? It seems like that's kind of what my family would call it. So we didn't believe in it until this happened, and afterwards, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like when I really learned how to meditate, right, and how to sit still, and how to be quiet, and how to bring the energy down, right, when the levels are very stressful, and when I learned how to do that, I'm like, this is amazing. But I didn't believe in it before. So I started doing practices like that in addition to just eating well and exercising. And I fell in love with it, to be honest with you.
With meditation?
With the whole thing, just
the holistic living.
Yeah.
Holistic living.
And you mentioned Swiss cheese, right? That's how whole living came about, because I was thinking about, it was like I had an image of a body, and the body was like Swiss cheese, where there was holes in the body. That's how I came
That's
up.
Funny.
Yeah, exactly.
I picked up on it.
You did. See, energy, right?
Because I never talk about Swiss cheese. I don't even like Swiss cheese.
I don't either.
Yeah, listen, meditation is one of the things, and I'm a board certified holistic nurse, right? But I didn't start off that way, right? So with all the things that happened in my life as well, with my daughter, and most of my viewers know this, my daughter was diagnosed with a leukemia, right, when she was a baby. And I say we went through cancer because I was the one making all the decisions for her. Yeah. I was the one dealing with the psychological manifestations of what was happening to her, because she had no idea what was going on. She was a baby. All she cared about was that mommy was here, daddy was there, my brothers and sisters are here to play with. That's all she cared about, right? So she was happy every single day. She had no idea. I had to deal with the information that was coming in and the stress that it was putting on me to deal with this. So I needed to learn holistic ways. And even with my own PTSD dealing with 9/11, I had to find ways to come back to me. And meditation was the hardest one. Out of all the different tools that I have, it is the hardest one, because I can't shut my mind off. Right? And sometimes hearing this, people talk to you, I laughed at it too. I was like, this is crazy. I can't do this. I'd laugh at it too. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And all I could think about was the next thing that I have to do. I could not quiet the mind. But with meditation, and I want people to know this, it's not just sitting there. There's different types of meditation for different kinds of people. And those of us that can't sit still, right? There is movement type, the Tai Chi, there's movement type things. I always say women, we love to clean when we're upset, right? Because our bodies are in motion. We clean, and it helps to clear this. That's what meditation does for you. It makes you focus on something else so that you can emotionally disattach from whatever's bothering you. We do it all the time. We just don't know what we're doing. We just don't know what to call it. And now that we know, hey, go. So once I realized that it was okay, game on. I now know that my meditation has to be in movement, so that if I'm going to listen to something, let me do it while I'm moving.
Yeah, I love that.
Keep my body moving. But just as hard. And again, chemicals. I want to talk about chemicals and how that affects us when it comes to cancer. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things around us, right, that can cause cancer, right? And they're known. It says it. A lot of times, if you read the fine print on the labeling, it says it. So there's a lot of things in our environment that touch us in that way. And cleaning products is a good one. You were just talking about cleaning, right? Cleaning products are a big one, right? There's a lot of carcinogens in cleaning products, but our food, lo and behold, has a lot of carcinogens in it as well. A lot of ingredients are known, and I just did a show on this actually to go through some of the items that are found in our food that are known carcinogens. So there's a lot of chemicals in our food that they put in there to preserve it, to beef it up, to change the color, right? I have to catch that episode. Everybody, you guys have to catch this episode. What's the name of the show? Tell everybody again. That one was actually on Fem Talk.
On Fem Talk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I did a segment
because we do a couple of things.
Yes.
These are all great subjects that we all need in our lives. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go.
No, that's okay. I did a segment on that show just to talk about the ingredients, things that are found in our foods that, they want to make it look appealing or make it smell good or make it last longer, but they're known carcinogens. And there are things that are banned in other countries that we accept in the United States, a lot of them. So,
Wow.
when you think about the chemicals, it's in everything. It's in our skincare products. So I always tell people, read labels, please read the labels. If you don't understand what the ingredients is, I would suggest not to buy it, right? Or go look it up, go research it, make sure you really understand what the ingredient is, what it's doing for you, and also read the side effects on those ingredients to make sure that it's something that you want to actually consume, whether you're putting it on your skin, you're eating it orally, or, you're cleaning with it, whatever it is, we're always absorbing, something from products that we use around us.
You triggered something. I remember seeing something, and I don't recall where I saw this, but they were talking about like bananas, these
Mm-hmm.
big yellow bananas that we have. The bananas are not supposed to look like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bananas are supposed to be small,
Mm-hmm.
little things like this. The
Yeah.
fact that they're big yellow like this is because of the chemicals that are being used,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
bananas don't have a label that tell you
Yeah.
that chemicals are being used. So how do you know that that tomato, that big old pepper, that
Mm-hmm.
those vegetables have chemicals in them? How do you know?
Well, one is like you said, right? Size. Size is a big one. I can remember going to, and I always tell people this story because I thought something was wrong years ago. I can remember going to one of the major parks, and I won't, put their name out there, but I can remember going through this ride, and through this ride, they had these large vegetables. And I was like, something is very wrong with this. Like, if they're doing this, I was wondering, why are they doing this, number one? And something is very wrong with this. And what are they putting in the vegetables to make them this size? So when you
Mm-hmm.
think about size does matter. So if your bananas are just way too big, right? It means that something's in them. They use things to plump things up. Our meat, our animal products, our vegetables, they use these chemicals to plump things up, to one, make them more appealing to people, right? To also, fit the demand of the United States, right? And I'm gonna say this country, right? Because I live here, I don't live anywhere else, but to fit the demand here because people consume a lot more here, especially
Right.
when it comes to food. So they use things to plump things up to make them look better. But size matters. If you start to look at some of the organic foods, and if you read the labels on some of the organic foods that don't have, the caseins or the hormones or anything like that in it, or the preservatives, you'll see the size is very different. Take a piece of chicken, a regular, what you would see in just like a regular grocery store, and then take one that's organic, that doesn't have all the hormones and antibiotics and everything in it, and look at this. The sizes, it's like this. Like, if you compare it,
Yeah, and
it's
it's so expensive.
yeah, it
There's
is.
no chemicals in this, and it's
Yeah,
like twice the amount of the
yeah,
price. And I'm like, how
yeah,
are we supposed to eat healthy? It costs twice as much
yeah,
and less. The amount
yeah,
is less. So
yeah,
they're encouraging us to eat the bad stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And there's
And making
something
it
very wrong
difficult.
with that. When you think about what you just mentioned, for the price to be more for something that should be more natural, more homegrown, more, right?
Right.
Not loaded with extra items.
Yeah,
It costs a lot
exactly.
more
We've got
money.
less items and you're charging me more for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not going to feed my family. I need a lot more of this than I need of that.
Exactly. Exactly.
One chicken breast is big, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Can feed an entire family, and that other
yeah,
chicken breast won't. So when you look
yeah.
at that, obviously, if you're a mom buying and you're a single mom and you're
Hmm.
buying for your kids, you're going to try, you need to feed them,
Hmm.
right? Are you going to be able to go for that organic one? You're not going to be able to do that,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah.
it's like we got to find better answers for ourselves, and utilizing the tools as well that you
Hmm.
talked about to be able to help yourself. These are things that you don't have to go buy anywhere, right?
Yeah,
Meditation. What
yeah.
else did you use besides meditation? What other methods?
Well, my biggest thing is exercise. I love exercise
Exercise.
now. I didn't do it a lot before. I used to do it, kind of at will or when I could. And I had, when I was working in corporate America, there was a gym in the building, and it's like I just couldn't get there. you know, just not being intentional about it. Now you can't stop me. Like if I don't get my workout in, you're not going to get much out of me for the day, right? Like I have to do that in the morning, whether it's at home and I started at home, and then through COVID, I worked out at home. But, I love the gym as well, but you can do it anywhere, outside, at home, in the gym. It doesn't matter. You can
Just
get it.
take a walk, right?
Yeah, even
Just
that.
take
Yep.
a walk. So
Yep.
what would you say to if you had a client who's a mom who's got all this going on?
Hmm.
How would she fit it in? How would you advise her to fit it in? We talk about all the different things that you and I had to do, right? Off camera.
Hmm. Yeah.
All the different things that we do all the time. How would you advise somebody like me who's always on the go? Where would I fit it in?
Yeah, I would say do intermittent exercise. There's intermittent fasting, right? People always talk about that, but you can do intermittent exercise. And I love to tell people to do this because just, like I'm sitting at a desk right now, right? Here on the podcast. But if I'm sitting at a desk all day and I'm talking to the people who do, right? Get up, do 10 jumping jacks, go back to work, right? Another hour and a half, get up, do 10 squats. There's always a way to get it in. It seems, and it doesn't take that long, right? 10 squats you can do in like a minute or two. So it doesn't take that long. One, it's going to help you to get exercise. Two, it's going to help you with your breathing. Three, it's going to help to change your energy, right? We talked about energy, right? You want to do that. So, and it's going to help you with blood flow, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting those things in, and intermittent exercise is a great way to do it. Get outside, take a walk for 5 minutes if you can, but take little spurts of time and do some type of exercise, and you'll see that you can get a whole routine in throughout the day.
I have never heard that term, intermittent exercise.
I don't know if I made it up, but I definitely started telling people.
And if you did, you better put a seal on that because because my God, yeah, I've never heard that term. Had I heard about that, probably I would have been encouraged more to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
when you think about it, you could do it in little spurts throughout the day. You don't have to think about, because it's very daunting when you think about, oh, I got to set aside this time and I got to put my sweats on. I got to do this. It's got to be a whole production just to exercise. But your method is, no, you don't. Just go take a walk for 5 minutes. Go do this, different types of exercise, whether it's a squat, and if you can't do that, or a jumping jack, or, some other kind of modified exercise. Right. So this is what you do now. Are you now, coaching? Is your ideal client a woman in a certain age range? What's your ideal client look like?
Yeah, she is that person that was just like me, right? Working all the time, or always on the move, worried about taking care of other people and not really taking care of herself, not knowing how to fit it all in, fit herself in to the schedule and the program, right? Every day she's a woman who is between the ages of 35 and 65, who's just busy, right? Who's just busy and feels like she just does not have time. I'm here to tell you that there is time. You have to make time, because if you don't make time, you're going to make time for some illness that you do not want. And I don't want a person to get to a diagnosis. So that's her. She was me.
Yeah, that's a mic drop. If you don't make time, it's gonna catch you anyway. It's gonna grab you by your leg, and it's gonna bring you down anyway. So take action yourself. Don't wait for action to come to you.
That's right. That's right. And it's all about action instead of reaction, right? And that's usually where we are, right? We're reacting to something that we shouldn't have to, because there are ways to mitigate the risks of some illness, right?
Right. That's awesome. So tell me, how can people get a hold of you? They want to work with you. They want to learn more. Where can they get a hold of you?
They can go to my website that you have there. It's www.theresetcoach.com. Or I am on pretty much every social media platform: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can reach me on all those platforms. I would love to talk to you. And I would love to help you live healthy and make it fun too, right? It doesn't have to be daunting. We can make it fun.
Right. And you have 2 shows, right? Tell us about your shows and where they can catch those episodes, where we can fill in about all the stuff that you were just talking about.
Yeah, so one show is called Fem Talk. I do that with 3 other ladies. It comes on Tuesday evenings at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and on E360 TV Network on demand. And the other one is called The Whole Living Show, and that one's on Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all of those avenues as well, Facebook, YouTube, and E360 TV on demand.
So important. Guys, please support Tracie on all those platforms, and yours truly may be making an appearance soon.
Yes.
So yeah,
Hope
let's
you
do
see
that.
that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So share with my viewers as well. This is the question that I ask all my guests. How do you define success?
Ooh, so now success is me being able to get up and see my son smiling every day. Me being able to, I have jumping jacks with Jordan, right? So me being able to do jumping jacks with my son or go work out with him, or, the fact that I'm living and I'm able to spend time with him and not have any pain, that's success to me now. I feel good. I feel really healthy, and I'm able to keep up with my little guy. That's success for me.
That's it. And how old is your little guy?
He's not really that little. He's 16, but
He's 16. They're harder to keep track of, right?
Yeah.
What a blessing. Absolutely. Tracie, thank you so much for being a guest on my show today. Thank you for all the information you provided us.
Thank you.
And for my guests, I will see you next time.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Morales, and I am a recruitment coordinator for Be The Match. My journey with Be The Match actually began when I was only 9 years old. At that point, my 7-month-old baby sister was diagnosed with an extremely rare form of leukemia. Through the Be The Match registry, we were able to find a matching donor for my sister. And although a few months later, we lost her, her cancer was cured. Our family is so thankful for the additional months that we had with my sister. And ever since then, I've made a promise to myself to dedicate my life to helping children just like Isabella and helping families like ours by continuing her legacy. Hence why I now work for Be The Match. I love what I do so much, and I'm able to spread awareness about the huge need for more donors on the registry, especially those of diverse backgrounds. There is currently a huge disparity within the registry for minority patients, and we need your help. It is so simple to save a life and to be put on the registry. You can visit izzy'slegacy.com or text Izzy's Legacy to the number 61474 to start the registration process to be on the Be The Match registry, to hopefully be a life-saving match for a searching patient in need.